My name is Austin Wallen. I'd like to thank you all for coming out tonight. I help organize these events, but they couldn't happen without some key folks, especially our sponsors Atlassian, Paul and Holly and the other crew that helped put on the event, and also my employer MindJet, who provides the pizza. So thanks to all of them. And just to give you a quick run through, we'll have our presentation, we'll open it for a little Q&A, and then at the end we do quick announcements if anyone is looking for a role, if anyone's looking to hire, we'll let everyone stand up and make those announcements, and then hang out for a little while afterwards, and then we'll kick you out. So thanks a lot for coming, and I'd like to introduce Jiyoon Chung, who's the VP of Marketing at Flint Mobile, and will give us an excellent talk, as obvious as posted behind me on mobile user acquisition. Really excited to have her here tonight.
Well, thank you for having me and inviting me over. So my name is Jiyoon Chung. I joined Flint in January as VP of Marketing. I had all of marketing-related activities there. I am the marketing team of one, and we do have an open rec, so I just put it out there. I started my career in the online marketing, focusing on consumer internet space, starting year 2003. Spent some time at eBay and then Nextag, Coupons.com, where I met Paul and then a few of other folks here. And went into mobile and social marketing focused company at Frostar, which is a social and mobile gaming company. Spent about a couple of years there, and then now I am at Flint Mobile, which is a mobile payments app company, and it's been a tremendous fun so far. So today's talk is about mobile acquisition marketing, and I put it as an introduction because in less than an hour I cannot possibly cover all of the intricacies and the depth of information that you will need to know about mobile acquisition marketing, but I am hoping to deliver some basic information that will be helpful to you, and I try to be as practical as possible about my approach. Because you will, if you are interested in this topic, then you probably want to do it yourselves at the company that you are at. Okay, so first, what is mobile acquisition marketing? It's basically delivering your advertising and promotional messages on various mobile devices to acquire visitors and users for your business. So as you can see, most of you guys are very familiar with the Apple products, iPads and the iPhones, and also some Android devices. And then I put the BlackBerry there because I know some of you guys are, I don't know if any of you guys are using it, but I know some of you guys are using it, so I just put it out there. Why do we care about mobile? So why am I here, and why are you guys here? One of the key questions as an advertiser or even ad networks or any of the marketers will ask is, where is the money at, right? So when you look at the trend from year 2011 to 2016 projection, it started at over $1 billion already in the year 2011. Last year, the advertising spend was over $2 billion, and then this year it's supposed to top $4 billion, and it's supposed to grow over $10 billion by year 2016. So there's a tremendous amount of capital going in there, and also a lot of growth projected. And another key question as an acquisition marketing person would ask is, and a lot of the marketing people that I ask themselves as well, is where are my people? You have to find the people that you want to acquire. So here are some of the interesting statistics that I thought will show that. 80% of the American adults own cell phone, and then when you go down here, 45% of those people own smartphones. And 81% is a growth of smartphone usage in the year 2012. And 51% of the video traffic was on mobile device in the year 2012. Mobile traffic in 2012 is 12 times as big as the entire internet in the year 2000. And by 2013, this is what Cisco is projecting, is the year when mobile devices will exceed the world population. So clearly, there's a lot of people there that you can reach. And what does the landscape look like? So I call it a tale of two giants. So these are the two big companies that are in our backyard, Apple and Google. So I look at it as, I'm not talking about the mobile device companies like Samsung. I'm talking about just the software and also the app presence and who owns what. So let's look at the smartphone market share. So Android has a little bit of an advantage there, about 51% versus 43%. Let's look at the app downloads. Again, Android has a little bit of an edge there. You have 51% versus about 42%. Okay, then where is the money at? So you will see that the download revenue on iOS is about 74% of the total download revenue. So it shows your typical iOS user spends more money on downloads and also app-related expenses. So that's one of the reasons why a lot of companies actually start developing for iOS first instead of Android. But recently, what I have, when I was talking with a lot of app developers, is that now they feel like they want to take advantage of less crowded platform, which is Android. So some companies actually go into Android first and then go bring their apps or bring their businesses over to iOS. But majority of the developers develop their products on iOS first because the amount of users that you acquire are more valuable on iOS than Android at this point. And I'll go over the advertising flow. So two big areas are mobile web and mobile app. So when you look at your mobile device and you surf, so you can open up Safari and then you can search on things. You can go to Fox.com, or you can go to some of the sports websites. Those are, I would consider, as mobile app, mobile web. So you are having a web experience on your mobile devices. Mobile app is when you actually open up an app on your mobile devices. So whatever you do, whatever you see, those are the mobile app experiences. So in those two areas, you will see a lot of different types of ad formats. Search, display, messaging, videos. There are a lot of ways that advertisers use to communicate and deliver their advertising messages. And then from there, when somebody clicks on it, they will go to either mobile web landing page or the App Store. So you'll see here it says about 49% search, 33% display. I think this is a little bit older information, so I am going to go into a little bit more current research into these numbers. So I'll go to the next slide. So mobile, in terms of the ad spending share, you will see that search, rich media, and video formats are to grow tremendously over the next few years. And one area that's going to decline is the SMS and MMS type of messaging advertisements. So I will consider those MMS and messaging advertisements as more like email spamming, right? So I hate getting that, you know. I'd rather see an ad than getting a message that uses my text account. So one of the things that you will notice is how search is going to grow a lot. And it already accounts for a big portion of mobile advertising. And as the market size grows from about a couple of $1 billion to over $10 billion, you'll see how much ad revenue is at stake for a company like Google. So I'll go into some of the ad formats that you would probably end up using. So the first one is incentivized ads. These are really cheap, high volume, but poor quality ads. Why do we use them? We mainly use them for App Store ranking. So for example, if you are at a company that does have some marketing budget, and if you want to have a good exposure on your app so that people are aware that your app exists. So a lot of companies, what a lot of companies do is they buy these tens of thousands or sometimes hundreds of thousands of downloads at cheap price so that they can boost up their ranking, because currently a big portion of how you can rise up ranking in the App Store depends on how many downloads you have. So I know that Google Play, they use a part of how they optimize their search, right? So I would consider them as a little bit more advanced in terms of controlling how the app rises in their App Store. However, for the Apple's App Store, it seems like it depends, so far it depends mainly on the amount of downloads that you have. So you can easily spend your way up to the top ranking, and by doing that, what a lot of these companies want to achieve is not only have that visibility, but by having that visibility, you drive organic users to download your app. And the organic users are a lot more valuable than some of these poor quality downloads from rewards. So the way it works is that on your games or even your other apps, some of these apps offer to give you free coins or free currencies in your app. So they go, okay, you could get free brain, or by going to test this Modern Girl by CrowdStar game, you get 50 tokens free. So by buying your reward-oriented traffic, what people have to go through is go through some of those rewards companies. We call it offer walls. So you go to the offer wall, and then you pick a reward that you can complete. So some of it is watch these videos. Some of it is register for Netflix. Some of it is buy this and you'll get 100 coins for free. And then when you complete the offer, then you receive some sort of reward. So this is how incentivized ad works. And then there are app and web display ads. Yes?
What's the rough cost per download of those incentivized downloads?
For Tapjoy, their lowest rate is 10 cents per download. But I've seen that you can achieve a really high scale when you bid up to 50 cents to $1. I probably wouldn't bid more than that, but if you want to boost up your ranking up to top 10, you have to drive about 120,000 to 150,000 downloads per day. So if you need to do that, you'll probably end up purchasing a lot of these kind of poor quality installs at maybe $1.50 to $2 even. Yeah, so a lot of companies do spend their way up there, but I think less so now than before. So these are the small ads, and those are usually 300 by 50 or 320 by 50, depending on the format that the advertising networks use. So you'll see there's a top ad right there, and then Coca-Cola ad, and then on the bottom. So you can see these ads in either a mobile website or mobile app. And these are usually very high volume. You see those everywhere, right? When you surf, when you are on your mobile device. They usually have low conversion rates, and then also they're pretty cheap to buy. And then there's mobile search. As we have seen, mobile search has a really big market share of the advertising spend. So you can actually go to Google to search for whatever that you need to do. It's really hard to see here, but there's a phone number up there. So these days, what some of the advertisers do is when you search for, let's say, road bike, the advertisers can actually put their phone numbers into the search result. And as a user, if you are interested in that ad and that product, you can actually click and call them directly. So on the desktop ads, it's really difficult to do that. You can just put your phone number out there, but it's very difficult to even track how people click on the phone numbers to actually call somebody, right? But on the mobile devices, your search ads can be a lot more effective if you want to reach your customers this way. And then put Yahoo search there, and because Google is not the only search company, and then there's a iPad. So your experience on mobile is going to be it's as good as, if not better, than desktop. And then there is an ad format called interstitials. These are the ads that would cover your entire screen, or almost all of it. So a lot of app companies or a lot of mobile web companies, what they do is in between your surfing or in between your leveling up of a game, they place these ads so that the users can see a lot more information and in a high quality. So these ads tend to drive higher conversion and then higher quality, but it tends to be a lot more expensive. So even on tablets, they have these interstitial ads, so it becomes a really huge ad in front of you. And then you could see that in an interstitial ad, what you can do is you can download, and it will lead you to the App Store. And then when you click on more apps, it will show you what other apps are there. And also a lot of movie companies, they do the interstitial ads, or I'll go through the video ads. So the rich media is very, very popular for brand and advertisers, and then the ads that are seeking to drive higher conversion and higher quality traffic.
Do you have any ranges for numbers of cost and conversion?
I've seen numbers in terms of CPM. For remnant inventories, I've seen numbers as low as maybe $3, $4, $5 CPM, and then it goes up to $20, $30, $40. Even for performance-driven campaigns, so even if you are able to buy these ads at CPI, when you calculate back to eCPM, sometimes those eCPM comes out to be $20, $30. So you end up not really saving by going over to CPI focused campaigns. And then there are mobile video ads. So these are very expensive, high quality and high conversion. I personally like the video ads. They are expensive for my taste because I have a very long direct response marketing background, which means I am cheap. I try to buy ads that are as cheap as possible, but they will deliver the volume and the quality. And most of the video ads are sold at either CPM or cost per completed view. They don't really sell for cost per acquisition or cost per download even. So you are taking on a lot of risk as an advertiser. However, once the ads are shown and they're completed, I found that the conversion rate after that is fairly high because the audience has gone through kind of an experience of the product itself through watching the video. So when they click on it to download, they're pretty much committed. So you tend to have higher quality traffic, and sometimes it's worth it. So again, Assassin's Creed 2 or some games like that, I was just going to a little bit of a gaming background. Games like that cost a lot of money to download. I'm used to freemium games or marketing freemium games that are free to download and then you spend as you play. These type of games, or a lot of hardcore games, they are, the paid campaigns, paid apps are pretty expensive. You know, sometimes it costs like $5 to $10 to download these games, right? And then you have to pay, you know, on top of that to level up in a lot of these games. So your user value is a lot higher for these games, and I see a lot of ads that can support that type of lifetime value of the users use ads like this. But if you can work with mobile ad networks, they can deliver the right type of inventory at the price that you want, even with really low lifetime value apps or the websites or the actions that you are looking for, you should be able to access some of these inventories. Probably not at scale, but at low level. Any questions so far around the ad types? Okay. So now that I dazzled you with all these pretty pictures, I'm going to geek out a little bit and then go into talking about tracking. So now that you bought these ads and you deliver these ads to your future users, what do you do next? You need to track them so that you can calculate your ROI and you can optimize and do all that, right? So mobile web works pretty much like desktop online marketing. So you serve the ads. Ads are served with some sort of tracking information. So you can track by campaigns or ads and do all that. And then it goes to your mobile web landing page where you can pixel those ads and you can follow them. And then you use on the back end some pixels and server-to-server type of integration to send back that information back to the ad networks that you are doing business with. So that's a type of kind of a path that your user will take on mobile, and that is exactly what's being done on desktop campaigns. So tracking on mobile web campaigns is not going to be that difficult. However, when you want to market mobile apps, so if you work for an app company, and that means you will need to track your downloads, and then after that you'll want to track your quality of users coming from those downloads. There's an ad channel that will serve the ads, and then as your tracking info will go out to the customers, and then when they click on it, where do they go? They go to the app store, not the landing page. And what's wrong with, not what's wrong, but the industry right now is not really enabling the transfer of that information through the platform. So when ad goes to the Apple's App Store, let's say I am driving users Flint mobile to the Flint mobile page on the App Store. So when they go there, we lose all tracking because the App Store does not transfer that information and spit it right back to you. So what do we do then? So for the longest time, what the advertisers and the publishers did is they were using UDIDs. That's the Universal Device Identifier. So it's kind of like your exact, IP address or something like that on your desktop. The advertisers are actually tracking you by your device. And that became kind of an issue with privacy laws. So what Apple did was, okay, they gave the industry, I would say probably almost a year notice on deprecation of UDIDs. Doesn't mean that UDID is going away, it just means that you won't be able to access it, and also you won't be able to use it. So they just announced that by May 1st, any app that is trying to download the UDID from a device will no longer be accepted by the App Store. So they're completely deprecating UDIDs from a tracking mechanism. And what do the industry use now? Apple released something called IFA, is the identifier for advertising. So it's more like, it kind of acts like a cookie in a way, but it's more of a device level, kind of a temporary identifier. So there is a setting in iOS 6 now that you can actually suppress these things. So you can stop people from tracking your purchasing behavior or your web viewing behavior. However, in a way, that's not really good for yourself either, because you are going to get bombarded with ads that are not really relevant to you. So if you let the advertiser actually follow your shopping or web browsing behavior, you will be served with ads that are a lot more relevant to your experience and the ads that you will want to see actually. So in a way, I think the industry has a lot to communicate with the rest of the world on why sometimes it's better to let their, I guess, behavior be tracked, but in a more non-privacy intrusive way. So that's why we have no more UDIDs to use as tracking mechanism, and then there's an advertising identifier that you can use to track users now. So most of the ad networks that we work with, they have switched over to IFA, and they are no longer using UDID as a tracking mechanism. So that's why in mobile app marketing, you actually go down to the device in order to track your users instead of using a cookie or whatnot. And what you want to do is you need to either develop your own in-house tracking platform where you can implement all of the SDKs that are out there to track by each marketing channel that you are dealing with, or you can use a third-party tracking platform. So when I first started mobile marketing, that was, I would say about 2 years ago, and the questions that I would ask as coming from desktop marketing and online marketing is, okay, so how do I track my users so that I know certain channels are delivering better quality traffic? And it was really surprising to me that a lot of these so-called mobile ad networks, their answer was, what do you want to do now? They just didn't have the I guess experience and also the thought that that's what an advertiser would want to do. But that changed very, very quickly. So a lot of mobile ad networks now are very cooperative, and also they try to use as many standardized tracking platforms as possible. So things are much better now. But in the beginning, even after going through that years and years of online marketing on desktop, a lot of companies that came into mobile did not really have a clue on how to market and track mobile advertising units. So in terms of the tracking platform, there are a few third-party tracking platforms that are purely your technology service providers. So what we found out is that a lot of ad networks, they try to provide their own tracking solutions. But the problem was that, let's say Flurry has their own, Fixu has their own, M.N has their own. But the problem is all these ad networks are competing against each other. So Why would Flurry want to use Fixer's tracking solution? Why would M.M would want to use Flurry's? So there are a couple of third-party pure technology providers that came to be a little bit more of a standardized tracking platforms. A couple of them that I've spoken with are HasOffers. They have this thing called mobile app tracking platform. And then also AdX. AdX is a London company. They have a solution that's pretty comparable to what HasOffers has. So those are some of the third-party tracking platforms that I've looked into. So you will either have to work with your engineering team to develop your in-house tracking platform and deal with all the updating of the SDKs and whatnot, or you can use a third party. You have to pay for the service, but a third party tracking platform providers that have already integrated with a lot of ad networks out there and who can track the installs and also post install activity on your apps. Any questions about this one? So next, I will go through some conversion funnel on mobile. All right, so the first thing that you will want to look at is your audience targeting. You have a product now, you have a website, you have an app. So how do you market this? The first thing that you want to consider is, okay, is this limited to certain geographical location, or is this worldwide? So you can decide on that. Mobile ad networks are able to target by geo. So you probably want to set up your campaigns in a way that you can allocate right budget and right bid per geographical areas. What I found out is that certain geo areas users are worth a lot more than others. So you will probably want to look at your audience profile and see how you want to start campaigning. And then you can also target by categorical or behavioral segments. So a lot of App Store. So App Store is categorized into different industry or different subjects, right? You can market to the apps that are more sport-related apps, or entertainment-related, or finance, or news. So you can actually pick your categories to market to. And then there's also device and operating systems. Especially for the app, mobile app companies, you need to understand what devices and operating system that your app is compatible with. So for Flint Mobile, we are only compatible with operating system that's 5.0 plus. So we don't want to market to users that have old operating system. If your app is only compatible with iPhone, you only want to limit your marketing target to iPhone or iPad. And what you will find out is that a lot of these devices, operating system, geo areas, categories, they will have different user values. Your users will convert at different rate. Your click-through rates will be different. So you may want to organize your campaigns in a way that you can optimize your bidding process from the beginning. Next is looking for channels and partners with relevant inventory and experiences. If you are a brand advertiser, you probably don't want to go with a whole bunch of gaming experts. If you are a gaming person, there are a lot of gaming ad networks that are out there that can deliver you scale and also efficiency. So what you want to do is find those ad networks and outlets that are relevant to your product. So it's not going to be one size fits all. Some app companies are not going to be suitable for you. Some app companies that work superbly for other products will not work for you. So you will want to speak with as many people as possible in your space and see what they're using and what they prefer to use. And even if they don't want to share that information, you probably want to ask your potential publishers or potential ad networks who they're working with. If they are just, if you are trying to market some productivity app or some sort of gaming app, and you want to do it as efficiently as possible, and then the ad network that you are talking with is doing business, only doing business with McDonald's or Coca-Cola's or these movie studios, there probably may not be a right fit for you, because not that they will not deliver you high quality traffic, it's just that your pricing point may not be compatible with what they can deliver. So you'll have to think about who you want to work with. Next is creative testing, and then also App Store icons. So you'll have to develop something that is suitable for mobile device. So you don't want to put too many texts in there that people can't even read. You will want to use the type of colors that will stand out, and also the App Store icons. At Crosstar, what we did was we actually did icon testing. We put ads out there with a whole bunch of little icons, and then see which one delivered the best click-through rate. When you are driving users to the App Store, the first thing that they see will be your icon. So you'll have to pay attention to that. You'll have to pay attention to how your ads are compatible with certain devices. So tablets are going to be a little bit easier because they're bigger. iPhones is going to be a little bit more difficult, especially if you want to use very small banners. So you'll have to think about what is the best way to deliver your message. And then you need to look at the landing page. So if you are marketing some sort of mobile web landing page, then you'll need to look at, is my landing page compatible with the device or the operating system? Am I just showing my desktop suited matched landing page on the mobile device where people can even read and browse? Or is it optimized for mobile experience? And then you probably want to look at App Store description as well, because next to the App Store icon, the description is the first thing that your user will see when they click on your ad. So in the App Store icon, you probably want to see on iPhone as well as iPad how the result of your app page is shown on the App Store. So there are a certain number of characters that show when you land on the App Store. So what do you want to put in your first 2 or 3 sentences or 2 or 3 lines of App Store description? You probably don't want to start with some long prologue, right? You want to get to the point where that you want to talk about what your app is and what your major benefits or feature of the app is before you get into all these flows, right? So you want to look at the clicking experience as well as when they click, how will your App Store description look on your mobile device on both iPhones or like a small Android phones as well as the tablets. Yes?
Just wondering if you or anyone else has found a good tool for previewing the App Store page. If you put in content, they can preview it.
I usually go to, if you don't have an App Store page, I usually go to another app and then see, and I kind of count the characters too, to see how many characters that I could fit and how much information that I could fit in there. And also I will look at how the screenshots are laid out. Do you want to lay out screenshots that are more horizontal or vertical, and see what the experience looks like on your iPhone. You can upload the screenshots that are compatible for iPhones and the iPad separately. Yes?
Any tools you recommend for audience targeting? Like your first step, audience targeting? Tools that you use or strategies that you use for?
Sorry, could you come up?
Any tools you recommend for the audience targeting, the first step, the audience targeting?
Oh, audience targeting. there are no big tools. It's something that you need to understand about your product, right? So if you are a U.S. gaming company, you probably want to develop your games in English. So what does that mean? Who's compatible with you? Probably English-speaking countries. And then also you want to go with, okay, from there, how do I go into the categories? You probably want to start with gaming category first, and then go to devices. Is my game experience best in iOS 5, iOS 4 Plus? So you go down, you have to start with your product. And then when you understand your product and then understand your audience, then you should be able to target them better. I don't think there's a specific tool on how to target audience. I think it's more of understanding your company and your product, and then that will guide you into audience targeting. Yes?
You said you found some user value differences based on geo-targeting. Mm-hmm. Does that count inside of countries, or do you mean between countries?
Mostly between countries.
Okay.
Yeah. So
nothing like regions within the U.S., for example?
I would say there is, but because of the lack of resources and whatnot, I didn't really look into that detail. But usually, you'll be able to find out what those differences are between the countries a lot more easily. Yes.
Does the text in your store description in any way affect how your app is searched, or where you rank within a certain category?
Yes, that's what I've heard, and a lot of. But it's like SEO where Google really doesn't tell you what's behind the curtain. It's like that in the App Store as well. But a lot of people speculate, okay, so there's a space where you can put in some keywords, relevant keywords, as well as the usage of the keywords in your app description. And there are tools like, there's a thing called SearchMan. And then there are other tools that are out there to let you know what keywords are relevant to your app and what your competitors are using a lot more easily.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions? All right. Then lastly, tracking again. And also, in addition to tracking, you probably want to look at your new user flow. It's not your primary responsibility as a marketer, but you are responsible for your conversion numbers, right? So if people are just bouncing after downloading because they can't even go through their first initial experience, it's a problem. It's going to be reflected right back to your marketing channels. So what you want to do is make sure that you work with your product teams to make sure that new user flow looks good, that interaction looks good, and then also there is a good enough initial user engagement there. So as a marketer, you are responsible for engaging those users, right? So there are a lot of things that you could use on the mobile side. You could use email if you have the email address, or you could use things like push notification to make sure that if they do something fantastic, or if they do first transactions or whatnot, you push them a message saying, hey, congratulations, here are more tips that you could use to do better, or something like that. So as a marketer, your job doesn't really stop at showing the ads. Your job goes further into making sure that your landing page and also your initial user engagement is acceptable so that you don't have a high bounce rate. Any other questions? All right, so that's it. Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit more about how you tested the App Store icons? Did you use a tool, or is it something that you put in?
So we actually bought ads in both Facebook and also mobile ad networks. So what we did was we used very small banner ad because that's how small the icons will look on your app store, right? On your app, on your mobile devices. So what we did was we just used the icon image and the text as, or the title of the app as our banner ads. And then we tested it to see which icon received the best click-through rate. And also on Facebook, so when I did the testing, that was before Facebook really had the mobile capability. So what we did was we actually tested on desktop. So on desktop, what you can also do is do demo targeting. So you can, if you have female-friendly apps, then you'll probably want to target female only, and then go through the age groups and see how the click-through rates vary depending on the segments that you create. So there are various ways to do it. Yeah.
When you do those specific demographic kind of targeting,
yeah.
Do you find that the costs increase or?
Not necessarily. So you can't really do demo targeting in mobile unless you go through social marketing sites like Facebook, right? Because a lot of websites don't really have that information. I mean, they can kind of either defer or they can estimate, but they can't really tell you this person is from 25 to 30, right? Age segment, and female or male. But a lot of these social marketing channels have that information. So if you can target your users right, then your cost is actually lower, or cost of acquisition is lower. Your initial cost of buying the inventories or buying banners may be high. I buy some of these ads at CPM right now, and I usually avoid buying things at CPM. So CPM is cost per impression, so you are taking on all of the risk. So I usually want to buy at cost per acquisition, so I know that I know exactly what I'm paying for. But when you buy your inventories or banner impressions using CPM cost structure, then you are taking on all the risk. However, if you are showing your ads to the right segment, it kind of pays off because you can get a lot more scale and you can reach as broadly as possible. Any other questions? Yes.
So you mentioned that you advertise on various social media networks,
Yeah.
Facebook and the like. Could you share some experience that you have in terms of the performances and whatnot?
So Facebook, I do have to give them some credit. I don't think they were in a good shape even at the beginning of last year, but they've put a lot of focus into developing mobile ad networks or mobile tools that will allow the advertisers to advertise to the right audience. And they're still developing tools and the capabilities. So now what I see is that there is a difference in performance in terms of cost per acquisition when you use a channel like Facebook. My cost buying power is it's more diminished because I have to pay much higher because I have that information to target a specific audience. But the performance is much better than just running on run-of-network or running on just a whole bunch of banner ads out in websites somewhere. So you definitely will have to do some testing and find as I mentioned before, you need to find your people. So whether it's people who are over 50, or people who are between 30 and 40, or people who are under 18, you need to find your people. Once you can find your people using their interest groups, using their demo information, then you can probably afford to pay them $5 to $10 CPM and still back out your cost of acquisition that is in acceptable range. Yes.
Have you been focusing mainly on paid media in the mobile space, or you've been looking at earned media and owned media, email campaigns and so on as well?
So when you say email, that means once you acquire the users, you remarket to them. So you'll have to do both. So at new companies, I usually start with acquisition, and then once we acquire our user base, then I tend to focus a little bit more on engagement piece of it. Yeah.
What about the earned versus owned versus paid, right? So editorial.
Oh, you mean organic versus paid? Okay, so the more you buy, unless your product is a dog product, the more you buy, you will have a lot better organic traffic. Your organic traffic will go higher because of word of mouth and whatnot. And then a lot of these media publications will pick up your product and pick up your story and they'll write about it. So you'll have to balance both of them. So what I do now is I do both paid acquisition as well as I also pay for magazine ads. I used to never buy print ads because it's really hard to track. But I do see a kind of brand value in it, and I do see user awareness value in it because our product is so new. So it depends on where you are in terms of the product, and then also how you want to grow. So I think organic traffic is as important as paid traffic, but if nobody knows about your product, it'll be really difficult to market it in the first place. But if you're talking about just pure organic traffic where you submit your product to some blog site or whatnot, you can do that. But I think your product has to be like an early breakthrough product or a really, really good product. So even for gaming, there are tons of gaming companies out there, tens of thousands of gaming companies. Who gets picked? The companies that produce really high quality games, kind of like what Supercell does or Natural Motion does. So once you have a very superb product, you will probably get some organic lift from it, but that should not be your core strategy. So that reminds me, so when you have a really, really, really good app, you have a killer app, you probably want to form some sort of relationship with the app stores too, the platform guys. So sometimes they will just pick up your game or your app because they think it's so cool. And then they'll feature it on the app store. So I heard that CSR Racing, the game developed by Natural Motion, they made millions and they spend really little on marketing. Supercell, they have the Clash of Titans, they have the Heyday. Again, now I think they kind of spend money, but those type of games have super high user value, and then they get picked up by a lot of these gaming blog sites, websites, and also the App Store because their quality is really, really good. So if your product, your app, it stands out from the crowd, you will probably get a lot more organic lift. I think could
I ask you about distribution across different app stores? Say you're doing an Android app. Are there specific app stores you recommend we try to get into, as well as Google Play or Jetstar along those lines?
From my personal experience, I haven't really had a huge success outside of, for Android specifically, outside of the big app store. For Android app, I think you have to get into the Google Play and then be successful there. And then I think Amazon is getting traction. Amazon traffic I thought was really good, high quality, but it was hard to scale. Yeah.
When Google Maps went back into the iPhone, did they have to buy any ads to reintroduce it?
I don't think so. I think they just climbed up ranking naturally because people just downloaded it.
And you don't think they should buy ads to?
They may have, but I don't know if they did a lot of that. They might have, yeah. But I haven't really looked into it. But they have that natural lift. I think Facebook also, they don't really do a lot of advertising on the apps, but whenever there's an update, Facebook goes up in ranking. It's because people naturally update and download the app.
Yeah. Speaking about the relations with the App Store.
Yeah.
So for example, I do have a killer app which stands out, it's really neat,
Yeah.
quality, and so on, it does something that, well, how do I build that relationship? Do I just sit back and wait for, being contacted from somebody from the App Store, or is there a way to push myself to them to get noticed?
Submit lots of updates.
Yeah. That's kind of tough. So at CrowdStar, because we were spending so much money, we were able to, I don't know how we did, but we were able to actually get direct access to their product team. At Flint Mobile, for some reason, Apple really liked our app, so they reached out to us even before we reached out to them. So sometimes you probably have to wait because your app goes through this editorial review process. And if people who are reviewing your app thinks it's a killer app, they will bring it up to their editorial board, and then they'll decide whether your app is so much better than other apps in order to, if it's worthy enough to be in their app store.
Can I throw out a wild suggestion?
Yeah, yeah.
Who do you think likes Apple on Facebook? Probably Apple employees.
Yeah.
So if you want your app to be seen by Apple employees, who do you want to target?
Target to Apple.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks.
Yeah. But Google, I think it might be easier. You just have to keep bugging them and see if you can get somebody there. Google for Android, yeah.
Yeah, we're not there
Yeah,
yet.
and then also another thing is Google is kind of sensitive about timing of your app release. So if you are able to release a killer app at the same time on both iOS and Android, then Google will like you better. Because Google tend to get kind of a, I don't want to say scraps, but they tend to get apps that they were successful or they were already launched in the Apple's App Store first. They don't like that at all.
What kind of resources do you go to when you want to compare whether your metrics, your CPMs or CPAs to your competitors?
You have to talk to your competitors. And then also you probably want to talk to some high-level execs in the industry. So it's not like there's a tool out there where people submit their metrics. You just have to form the relationship and know the people who may have access to that type of information. Or what you can do is talk to your publishers or your ad networks. So what I do is I usually ask. I don't ask, okay, how much is Square paying? I don't ask them that question. What I do ask is, how much do other competitors or the similar companies, how much are they paying, or is what I'm paying high enough to compete in this industry? That's how I approach it. But there's no tool where they tell you everything about your competitors' metrics. But another thing that you may want to do is read a lot of industry articles, and sometimes these research companies, they don't really point to specific companies, but they give you some sort of industry level data. So you will know you can benchmark against the industry average, whether you are above or below. Yeah.
With regards to mobile search, advertising, what's your personal opinion on enhanced campaigns with mobile app downloads, and have you thought of anything that may have a negative repercussion for publishers?
So I lost that battle, actually. So I did raise that question, concerns, because it seems like they took away a lot of targeting capabilities from the marketers. But I don't think they're listening. And I would say the negative side of their so-called enhanced, which is more of a regression, campaign is that you are no longer able to bid at the level that you want to bid for specific devices or platform. So I think they went to the wrong way. They were probably, we are talking about AdWords, yes. So they are now, I think, serving kind of a general search advertisers, but they are not catering, or they are not, they kind of reduce the capability of their features for the more sophisticated advertisers. So you'll probably end up spending a lot more per acquisition.
Do you use like App Annie or Steam or those kind of services to look at downloads and ranking?
Yeah. Well, AppFigures has some of their information. App Annie has that information. I haven't really used them in depth, but for just a general search and download volume. Yeah. Yes.
Do you have experience with trying to drive buzz and organic traffic through uses of press releases like PR Wire and PR Web and like that?
Yes, it does work to some degree. For one of the success cases that we had was we went to earlier this year, is it Macworld? So we went to that event and we saw a big bump in our user acquisition. I mean, of course, we did pay to be, part of that event, but we would consider that as more of an organic bump. And then also we had our company's name was mentioned in the Wall Street Journal, and it was a big part of the article. And when it went out, of course, we didn't pay for the article because Wall Street Journal is not, they don't write articles as a paid channel. So it was a pure organic lift that we got. So you just have to get your name out there. You get your press releases out there, and if it's worthy enough news, a lot of these publications will pick it up, and then you could probably build up your organic traffic like that. But your company or your product has to matter, right? And then a lot of paid, when you do a lot of paid campaigns, you can make that happen instead of waiting for other people to determine your destiny. You can make your destiny. Yeah.
From the paid channels, what do you consider to be the best and most effective channel for your current company?
Oh, for my current company, that's something that I wouldn't disclose. Yeah. I don't know who's here. I don't know if you're in PayPal or Square or
We're not competitors.
Yeah. So, but you probably want to ask any potential publishers who they are dealing with. So if they do a lot of businesses with banks or financial industry companies, then that's the type of advertising network that you want to do business with. Any other questions? All right.
Thanks so much.